Kansas City well on their way to that number now with 8. Patrick Mahomes, same sort of struggles in the first half. Drops by the targets. Can't get Kelsey going, but big game here by Isaiah Pacheco. $130 on the ground, another 35 through the air. Touchdowns on both, actually just through the air. Pacheco, spectacular in this game, and really the focal point of the offense. Rashee Rice showing up as that vertical target that Mahomes needed in moments. But on the surface, Kansas City doing what they always do. 8 in a row, hats and T-shirts. Let's get you out to the site where the lead voice of the NFL on CBS joins us now. Tony Romo with some celebratory images behind you, and celebration is in order. 8 straight division titles for these Chiefs. Let's start big picture. I mean, I want to get into this 60 minutes of football as well, but 8 in a row doesn't happen. I mean, it's only happened once before that streak or longer. To put together that sort of dominance across a decade, what is your emerging thought about this franchise at the current juncture?
Well, it takes multiple facets for that to happen. You have to have the quarterback. They have that. But you have to have the head coach. And then you have to have that other guy, right? It has to be the Gronk, someone like that, a Welker, like the guy who can go with him that's gone through it. And that's the Kelsey, Mahomes, and Reed era. And even though it's been tough this year, they've had a lot of adversity, trying to find their identity. I thought Patrick talking at the end right there was really important because they have maybe their best defense since he's been playing. You can win football games without being perfect on offense. They've always been able to go. So when you feel like it's not great, it's okay emotionally. I trust those guys. He doesn't have to be Superman over and over. He will figure out a way to score in the fourth quarter. Trust that defense and play to him.
Tony, anytime I get you after one of these Chiefs games, I feel like a kid in the back seat. Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there? We're trying to feel the way we used to feel about the Kansas City Chiefs, and it might not be that way of winning this year, but are we there yet from a confidence standpoint in this team?
It's a great question, and I think everyone has to go, like kind of what I was saying was, it's about winning. And if they don't score 30 like they're used to doing and they score 22, I mean, they are now 8-0 scoring over 21 points, 21 or more. And it's like, that's good enough because this defense is doing things they hadn't done in a long time. So you can depend on that. Part of that, though, that scares me is the turnovers is everything. But if you know your defense is that good, you won't take chances. And, you know, they lost the turnover battle today, and that's 10 games in a row they haven't won the turnover battle. And that's going to catch you at some point. But if they protect the football, they're always going to be able to, hey, Mahomes, go win the game with one drive. And I think they're starting to figure that out.
I mean, we're sitting here looking for things to nitpick, and they're finding other ways to win. It's impressive. But if there is an aspect of this offense yet to be unlocked as of late, it's been Travis Kelce. Hasn't seen the end zone in 6-some-odd weeks. This is a defense in the Cincinnati Bengals that's given it up in droves to tight ends throughout this season. Where are you seeing the issues? Is it internal or external? How do they get him going when they need him most?
Well, teams don't fear the wide receivers, so they're really having a plan every week for him, as if he was Tyreek Hill. So he's had to struggle off the line, 2 guys in and out. Guys get to put their hands on you with a ton of leverage over here because they know they got help there. So he doesn't have as many two-way goes. But saying that, I thought this week in this game was the first time I saw them go back to their core principles fully. Taking these shots downfield, when they get vertical, even just letting the ball go a few times a quarter, that pushes teams back. You don't want to double team Kelsey consistently when you're at least taking those shots. They need to keep doing that, and I think that today was big for them because I think that helped a lot.
Reason for celebration, Tony Romo. We always appreciate you standing by and stopping by. A Happy New Year to you and yours.
Happy New Year. Thanks, guys. See ya.
Okay, Tony offering his thoughts, and I mean, nobody knows the game like that man, and he brings up a great point there. Get vertical, and the underneath gets easier. Nothing is easy about stringing together 8 division titles in a row, but that's exactly what Patrick Mahomes and this Chiefs franchise has done. Keep buying the hats and T-shirts, and they'll keep on winning. All right, diving deeper with the 2-time champ Bryant McFadden. B-Mac, as you take a look at this Kansas City team, I don't feel like we've turned the corner just yet, but they're dipping that shoulder right now. Felt like some confidence to be taken away from this one.
Well, you hope that they're dipping that shoulder because it's getting close to playoff time. And when you talk about playoffs, the margin of error is limited when it comes to playing against very, very good, talented teams, either home or on the road. So a bright spot from today's matchup against the Cincinnati Bengals was you played against a team that was desperate. They gave you the best effort, especially in the first half. You were able to weather the storm, and you found ways to make plays on both sides of the football. Let's start with Isaiah Pacheco. I mean, having him in the lineup, and when he's getting touches, their offense, they're at their best because he's shown the ability to be a big-time playmaker for them, not just running the football, but as we witnessed today, catching the football as well. Secondly, Mr. Rice. I don't know if you like rice and gravy, but if you're rooting for the Kansas City Chiefs, you better love rice and gravy because he provided the rice and the gravy. Rashee Rice has been phenomenal. You talk about all the rookie pass catchers that we've been raving about, either from the tight end position or the wide receiver position. He's been one of the more up-and-coming players, especially in the second half of the season. And you can tell that Money Pat Mahomes is starting to really trust Rice in his ability to create separation and go to him in critical moments. And then lastly, the thing that we've been talking about the entire season, the defense. The defense has continued to really put this team in positions to seal opportunities like they were able to do today. We know about 87 Travis Kelce. He didn't have a big outing today, but we know he's always where he needs to be. We know about Money Pat Mahomes being able to deliver the goods when need be, but now having some of the others surface for this team is critical, especially if they have aspirations of making a deep, significant playoff run.
I'm glad you say aspirations because it's sort of tied in with expectation at the beginning of the season. And I want your point of view on this because you played for a historic franchise that went about their business, won a lot of titles, won a lot of division titles, and that becomes the expectation. To put 8 in a row together for this Chiefs team and meet that expectation each and every season, even when it's not going as smooth as years past. How do you process that idea? Like when you were coming into the building, knowing what the goal was, how did that affect your daily preparation? And then you get to this point of the season, how did things change?
It adds pressure because the expectation is always to do what? Win the division. That's the bare minimum. For them to answer those questions year in and year out, you don't question the leadership that this ball club have on the coaching staff and on the personnel side of things as well. You don't question their ability to be dialed in and never get complacent because you can say whatever you want to say. Sometimes you kind of get complacent when you're always finding ways to win. You know, if you're winning in an athletic sport, if you're winning in your profession, you kind of get complacent because it becomes a common thing. But them, for the Kansas City Chiefs, it's almost like they're hungry. The hunger stays there. And when you talk about the NFL with the consistent turnover on the roster, consistent turnover on the staff, even though the Kansas City Chiefs didn't have to deal with that a lot. You lost Eric Bieniemy from a year ago, but outside of that, some of their main, key components on the staff, they're there. They're still finding ways to win when other teams in the division are drafting players or adding coaches solely to compete with the Kansas City Chiefs. Every move the Chargers have made over the last few years is about the Chiefs. The same can be said for the Broncos and the Raiders. So you have 3 other teams that are always consistently trying to gun you down and find ways to get right where you're currently living at or to surpass you. So for them to reach that level of expectation is phenomenal, but for us, we always expect more. As Tony just mentioned, they're not winning games like they used to win in years past. We feel like that's a disappointment. At the end of the day, it's your job to have more points than the team you're playing against. For us, sometimes we want style points. It's not just in college football. We want style points in the NFL. But for those guys in the locker room, no. We have to win by any means necessary, and who cares if it doesn't, if it's not pleasing to everyone else that's watching and being critical of how we win ball games. Think about that. People are critical when you win a ball game.
Prior to this stretch, it was bleak times for Kansas City. These times, an unbroken road of division titles, now 8 in a row for these Kansas City Chiefs. We got highlights, reaction, and sound coming from KC, the quarterback, the head coach. Everybody's sounding off with a new hat on.